pulling your hair out with the stress of it all. It is causing such anxiety, with many of you thinking, just how can you juggle the day job and be a teacher with your child fall behind? Will they ever catch up? So many questions. Well, we're joined in the studio by Dr. Stephen Curran. Stephen has over 35 years' experience as both a teacher and a tutor, and is founder of AE Tuition. So he's very well placed to answer your questions and alleviate your fears. Thanks so much for joining us, Stephen. This is obviously a very anxious time for parents, as we've said. What would you say back to them?
Yes, I mean, it's very, very difficult, and I'm very understanding because, you know, when I first became a teacher, I remember how frustrating and how difficult and how challenging it was, and homeschooling is a really, really hard thing to do. So I am very, very understanding and sympathetic with parents at this point.
Stephen, why is it so hard? You know, I've got a 2.5-year-old. I'm just trying to do a tiny bit of phonics, and it's impossible for me to teach her anything, it feels like. I can't even teach her to scoot or ride her bike. She doesn't want to listen to me, and I think that's a common experience for parents. Why is that?
Obviously, very, very young children learn by doing, and, you know, you have to adjust your technique when you're working with a very, very young child. Most of the time, they want to be doing activities and not listening to you and repeating words and things like that.
True.
So it is. I mean, children learn by engaging with things that have letters on them and toys that have letters on them. So you know, that is very, very hard. So you have to limit the amount of time with a very young child that you are instructing them and telling them things. Older children obviously can take more instruction. The older the child, it becomes easier.
So for parents watching this morning, what would your kind of top key tips be for them?
I think the most important thing is for parents to have a structure. Teachers plan by term, then by week, then by day, and then by lesson. So the worst possible thing you can do is wake up in the morning and think, what are we going to do today? You really have to structure the time, and I think learning as well takes place in two kind of contexts, I would say. The first context is a very, very formal context, teaching maths or having a maths session for an hour, having an English session for an hour, ensuring in the maths that you do times tables, particularly if you're working with a primary school age child, and then plenty of topics, a topic a day, and then for English, then spelling, grammar, syntax, comprehension exercises. So an hour a day of each of that, and then making sure they have a reader, so that they're reading a book every day, and maybe for half an hour, depending on the age of the child. So there you've taken up 3 hours of your day, effectively, and that's structured learning. And then you can also have unstructured learning or less structured learning, where even films and documentaries can become learning points if you ask questions. If the child is looking for how many animals that they see on a particular documentary, and then researching those animals or doing projects.
Do you think we've got some people obviously in really difficult positions here? We've got a question from Linda Porteous. I'm a single parent at home with 4 children, all of whom have disabilities and additional needs. I'm not doing schoolwork in the main. I think just keeping their anxieties as low as I can and letting them have fun is more beneficial, rather than trying to recreate a school environment. What would you say to Linda?
I think for single parents, this is extremely difficult, and, you know, I'm very sympathetic with that. Again, what I would try to do is to do your work as a single parent in the time when the child is doing more unstructured activities that they can do on their own. Colouring if it's a young child, or playing a game, or researching a project, something like that. And then you can focus on the more structured time with them. And use that time and give them your complete focus and attention. So I think it is possible for you to have time off if you actually plan it.
Stephen, thanks so much. Really interesting there. I think the main thing is, as well, is that all you can do is your best. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Now, earlier we left Angela investigating